All right, let's move on to top shelf bets, our favorite bets for Tuesday, January 17. We'll talk the Minnesota Wild and Washington Capitals. Washington is on Long Island for a game with the Islanders on Monday night. I will be there, so adjust your numbers accordingly. If you're listening to this before 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Monday night, this game is basically a pick 'em, and I think that actually underrates Minnesota a little bit with Washington in a little bit of a tough spot here, traveling back home after a really important game with the Islanders. And the Wild have been, I wouldn't want to say they've been great over their last 10 games, but they're kind of just doing what they do, which is playing pretty low event games lately, turning things as best they can into a coin flip. They're not allowing too many high danger scoring chances, and they're outscoring teams generally at 5-on-5. Washington, meanwhile, their 5-on-5 numbers over the last 10 have taken a little bit of a dip here. They're not playing at the same level that they were when they were going on that crazy run. And perhaps the wildest thing is that the schedule was relatively soft for Washington. So, a couple games with the Flyers and Blue Jackets, not all that daunting. So I think Minnesota here is undervalued on the road as a pick 'em, or maybe even get them as an underdog on Tuesday.
Yeah, I like the Wild here. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a good spot for them. And I'd take a little further. I think they've even been a little better than you're leading on right now. Their process looks pretty sharp. I like the way they control play. Their game, it altogether just seems really tough to play the Wild. It's really hard to generate much. They don't have many breakdowns. They have a lot of guys who can move the puck well and a lot of forwards who work hard at both ends of the ice. So I like a lot of what the Wild are doing. And the Caps, they're kind of scuffling. Maybe they'll sort it out tonight in Long Island, but it seems like the returns of Backstrom and Wilson and Oshie are actually kind of causing some issues with the lines. There's some weirdness there. They're changing like 4 units every game right now. I thought tonight's lines looked a lot better. Myself, along with most Caps fans, were really pissed to see Dylan Strome scratched for Lars Eller. I have to get that in here because that was just a galaxy brain decision that absolutely didn't work out. The Caps got smacked by Philly, and their lines suggested that should have happened. So yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to watch my Caps moving forward and see if they can stabilize. But so far, it's been a mess with the new guys back in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that they will stabilize eventually. Like, just they scored at a too good a clip, and the goalies are good enough. And as we said, their decor usually plays at a rate that I don't think people appreciate. For the finale, for your favorite bet on Tuesday, we will go out to Edmonton, where the Oilers, look out, they're doing that. It's still, this team is just bananas, man. And I know that people probably like just sick of hearing about them because everyone says the same thing. But like, what do you expect? What can you like figure out with this team? They've won 3 in a row now. They're tied with Calgary. They're putting a little bit of distance between themselves and Colorado right now. But at the same time, Colorado's got those games in hand. But they look better. Like, the Oilers look better. And does that mean you can trust them, or are you selling high?
I'm trusting the Oilers. I think everyone who's listening to this podcast all year knows I'm not the first to pump that team's tires for no reason. Their process has looked significantly better lately. In the month of January, they have a 57% expected goals for rating, coming from a team that doesn't need much to generate a ton. Things are looking a lot better. They're actually getting some depth scoring from guys like Klim Kostin, which is very meaningful, especially when you're hosting the Seattle Kraken, who get scoring from 4 lines. But with that said, this is a tough spot for the Kraken. They play Monday at home. They're hosting the Lightning. Then they've got to bounce back for this tough matchup versus Edmonton. Everything that's going on with the Oilers right now seems really positive. They're they're 2 games set on the weekend in Vegas and in San Jose was really impressive. I liked everything about the process of both games. I thought they looked quite sharp. They deserved each of them. That was a huge win versus Vegas. And I just think they're stabilizing, and this is going to be a good spot. And they should have a pretty massive goaltending edge, because I think this one is going to be Stuart Skinner coming back after the birth of his child back into the lineup. If not, Campbell's stabilized enough that I will still trust him over what will likely be Philip Grubauer. So yeah, I think the Oilers in regulation is a good play on this game.